you're going to love it. I got avatars on there running things now. I got avatars, Carver High, on there. Like people that look like other people, but they're not real. It's crazy. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on Coast to Coast.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So, look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have a Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? Because I was looking down and did not know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in. It is Game Time Decisions. We are live on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you here. And on this Thursday night, we play one of the most important games of the NFL season. So important, I said, I don't know if I could tackle it myself. So to start us off here tonight, the one and only Mike Blewett. You can catch him, of course, leading a lot of our NFL in-game live coverage. Mike, appreciate you making some time for us here on a Thursday. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. Hey, now. Hey. Whoa. Yeah. It's Mike, don't get me lost. I don't know if they'll love me coming right out of the gates going Birds and Steelers, but it is tempting. You look at tonight's game, and it's a 3.5 to 3 point spread, depending on where you're looking. Totals popped up a little bit, 52.5. But I do think that we start by taking a look at tonight's game from the big picture perspective, because what the Detroit Lions, I think, have on their hands tonight is the most important game of their season, and a game that, from an odds perspective, Mike, has the chance to be the most important all year long. The Detroit Lions are the favorites to win the Super Bowl at plus 290. The gap between them and the Eagles and Bills and the Chiefs is notable, right? When you look at the odds within the NFC, the Lions, again, the favorites at plus 150. The Eagles are that second choice at plus 250. You see tonight's Green Bay Packers at 7-1, and you see the Minnesota Vikings at 10-1. But what I think remains so noteworthy is this division. You look around, and there are countless divisional prices, Mike, that suggest job done. This is over. The Eagles minus 7,000. The Chiefs minus 1,900. The Texans minus 1250. The Bills have literally sealed the deal. Those are the top teams, right, when we look at the odds. Detroit, though, is under minus 500 for their division. And, Mike, a slip up tonight will change things, I think, massively in Super Bowl pricing and conference pricing. Likely that the Super Bowl favorite, as we sit here on December 5th, ends up the 6th seed in the NFC playoffs. Again, unlikely, but there is no chance the Chiefs end up the 6th seed. No chance the Buffalo Bills end up outside of that top 4. The Detroit Lions having to be road warriors, which, again, they'd be fine with, right? They've actually unbeaten on the road so far this season. But that is, to me, you have a situation, Mike, again, like they won't be Super Bowl favorites if they don't win the NFC North. They can't be. They are not going to price this team as league favorites or conference favorites if they aren't one of the top 2 seeds. And tonight goes such a long way. It will, I think, Mike, eliminate Green Bay from the conversation. Now, Minnesota will still be lurking, but that's, I think, the big thing is for Detroit now, you'll be holding off multiple teams, which we even look at a Baltimore-Pittsburgh situation, as you allude to, it's just a 2-team race. The fact that the NFC North tonight, if you get what would be a marginal upset here by the Green Bay Packers, just 3.5 points.
Bad the last couple of games, we still have to focus on the fact that Love has turned the ball over too much this season. Goff has been really good. It's another indoor game for him. Much has been made of the schedule that the Lions have faced. While they're not ducking opponents, they have been able to duck the elements. In fact, there are only 2 true potential weather games the entire season have not yet been played, at Chicago and at San Francisco. So getting the Packers, Bills, and Vikings all at home is a scheduling advantage for them. But this is a short week. The Packers are going to be looking to get revenge on the loss that they were handed in Lambeau. And as has been discussed on a lot of programs here on the grid today, the Lions are not dealing with a full slate. Given the question that you asked me, I feel better about Goff because he's been so efficient and he hasn't turned the ball over. The Lions have been incredible in first halves, but last week was worrisome for me in that they started stalling again in the red zone. That was how they lost their lone game of the year. They lost to the Bucs. I think it was 7 trips to the red zone, did not get into the end zone on any of those trips. So it has not been a problem for them over the course of the year, but it was last week. And they've been incredible in first halves, highest scoring first half team, cover most of the first halves tonight is one that gives me pause to make that bet because of how banged up the defense is.
Yeah, I think it's really well said, Mike. I think we look at that Detroit offense, and that's kind of the incredible thing to me is you don't have to sell me on that offense, right? Now, there's aspects of Goff that I'm always going to be a little reserved about. And when we're talking about Super Bowl, I don't think Jared Goff should be the quarterback for the Super Bowl favorite. If I'm honest with you, people can say that's unfair if they want. I don't think it's unfair personally, but the offensive line, the players around him, the coaches, it's all great. I've said this to, I said it to Donnie, right? I will be the last person to believe in that defense. We've now gotten to a point where I held out so long, Mike, the consensus is going to become, oh boy, this defense. And it's because of injuries. And we're going to be here with Mike Blewett for a little bit talking about this game, but I will help put this into perspective for people. SixScore.com, Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow, those guys over there. The most banged up unit, offense or defense, of the entire week is the Detroit defense. Even more so than the San Francisco 49ers offense. Think about that. We'll continue to break down an important one in the NFC North next right here on Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions. We're with you on SportsGrid. We're talking Lions-Packers. Let's make some here. I'm Kevin Walsh. I'm joined by Mike Blewett on this Thursday. And there's a few spots for me. I like this total tonight. I do. I worry a little bit, though, about how we're going to see this game broached by Detroit. This is a team that loves to run the football, and we know that. And they're great at it. But it's a team who last week maybe looks back at that final score, the red zone inefficiency that Mike kind of talks about, and maybe there's a little bit of a, hey guys, I need more running. And again, that's probably feels weird for a team that ran it 33 times, but considering 33 rushes went for 50 or went for 5.9 yards per rush, and the passing game was only 6.5 yards per pass, they may want to up the ante a little bit. And if we get an abundance of rush attempts, while certainly it could be effective, right, the clock will continue to tick. So my favorite wager tonight, Mike, up your alley because it's a tick off the beaten path. It's Jared Goff under 22.5 completions. He's only gone over that 4 times this season. The Packers have only allowed over that number 4 times this season. It's kind of the perfect number where, look, Detroit is more based on being explosive offense anyway. So usually if he's having a good night, it doesn't require a lot of completions. And I think there's going to be an abundance of rush attempts within this game. I look at what Green Bay's allowed, and it's at even money over on DK. My favorite piece tonight, prop tonight, is Goff under 22.5 completions.
Yeah, I like it, and it's pretty fascinating that right now, and you can obviously check different sports books, right now on FanDuel, you have Jared Goff and Jordan Love's passing yardage number is identical, 253.5. You don't often see that, but they're both right on that number. I'm with you. I think the only way that one goes over is if they're playing the screen game a lot. They obviously do like to use Gibbs in that screen game, but it would have to be significantly effective for them to keep going back to the well. The Lions, as you said, have an explosive pass game. They use a lot of different people, and I don't think they'll get caught up just using Gibbs over and over again. He'll get his 3 to 4 touches in the pass game. Montgomery, very little, and then it's Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams. Let's spread it around a little bit. I think I'm with you, though. I do kind of like the under on the completions. Attempts will probably go with it. He's been very efficient, obviously, and from a completion percentage standpoint. So I'd say you could do both, but I'll stick with you. And the attempts, I think, is the one that I'd lean towards in case this Packers defense steps up. Jair Alexander remains out for them, so I could see the attacking being more downfield to Williams and St. Brown than Gibbs as a focal point.
Yeah, and on the Packers side of it, Mike, where I wanted to attack because of all these defensive injuries, and I think Detroit's had a little bit of issue giving up some explosive plays in the past game as is, I wanted to try and find my angle. The issue is that Jordan Love number is out of control, 39.5 for a longest completion. I'm not telling you he can't get there, but Jaden Reed's longest reception prop, 22.5, Christian Watson, 23.5. I mean, you're talking 17, 18 yards. For anybody who bets in those markets, I know Mike does, that makes all the difference in the world. And I couldn't find a clear trend of, all right, for Detroit, it's always number ones or it's always number twos. Factor in on a weekly basis, I can't figure out who the number one and number two is anyway for the Green Bay offense. I took Reed over 22.5 for a longest reception, and I took Christian Watson, Mike, over 23.5 for a longest reception in this game.
Yeah, I think it's well said about the Green Bay wide receivers. Last week at one point, Jaden Reed, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, Jaden Reed had 2 touchdowns at just 15 yards receiving. So they have a way of utilizing him. I do think Watson is the home run hitter, but Reed has this explosiveness too. They use him in the run game fairly often as well. There was a moment earlier in the year where even sports books were trying to figure out a level as to where these guys should be. There's some separation now. For example, tonight, Reed at 62.5, Watson at 50.5, and Wicks at 38.5. So there's been some separation, but it's clear for me the guy that I feel is the most reliable on the team is Jaden Reed, and obviously, and honestly, a shout out to Tucker Kraft. Alex Anzalone's still out for the Lions, so a little bit weaker at linebacker. Tucker Kraft has had a number of big catches over the last month or so. There's a little shout out to somebody with a lower number. To get to 35.5, you just need 3 catches or so.
Yeah, that's a very cheap ask in a game like this. It could certainly jump off the page. There are some big picture things elsewhere, Mike, I'd love to get into with you. So before we move off of Lions-Packers, do you have a look when it comes to who wins this game, or perhaps the over-under, which is now sitting at 52.5?
Yeah, you seem to be a little bit more confident about a lot of points being scored, and I'd have a hard time betting the under with these two teams, but it's a really big number with banged up teams coming off of a short rest. I don't feel comfortable with getting way over the 52.5, so I'd lean towards the under there. And I'm having a hard time with a team this banged up laying the 3.5. Like I've said, my favorite Lions bet in the last few weeks, last week was a perfect example. They're up 16-0 at halftime. They easily clear a 4.5 first half total, but they don't cover for the game. So I'm going to take the 3.5 points here, understanding that the Lions are the better team right now on the whole in the season. But give me the 3.5 points. I'll lean with taking it on a short week.
Yeah, I think the hook factoring in wouldn't be a surprise whatsoever here. And I think to your point about that total, the 52.5 is trickier for me as well, because I do expect a lot of rushing within this football game, to where I think we could even see efficient drives in terms of them resulting in touchdowns, but I don't know if they happen quick enough, right? We talk about the Monday nighter between the Browns and the Broncos, and all of those drives were, 3 minutes or less. You may get a touchdown drive tonight that goes 7.5, and you go, well, I wish we just punted. Well, quite a while ago, this didn't work out how I wanted it to. We'll go quickly around the league. We've got Mike Blewett with us right here on a Thursday night.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're back with you right here. It is Game Time Decisions. We've got Mike Blewett with us hanging out. We've got Donnie Rightside coming up as well here in just a couple of moments. I will also let people know we do have some ranked college hoops tonight, Penn State, Purdue. I like that over at 149.5. I know the Boilermakers are very slow this year. Penn State, though, super quick. and getting under 150 for an ask. 150 is a winner on that 149.5 total. We have a top 10 offense who's going to have to play a little bit quicker, which is what will be the case tonight for Purdue. I like my chances on that over. Now, Mike, while I still have you here, I want to throw something at you because, one, you warned me many, many moons ago that eventually, at some point, I'd stop caring about who won MVP. And that happened last year. Last year was the tipping point, watching Lamar win a second MVP when he wasn't one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. That kind of broke it for me. So now when I look at the battle between Allen and Saquon, I promise you there's no Eagle fan massive investment of I hope Saquon wins. In fact, I'm well aware that it's been over 20 years since somebody won MVP in the Super Bowl in the same season. I don't know if I even want him to win the award. But I am doing my job and canvassing what the perception is out there. And, Mike, it does seem like there is a bit of a desire from some, and I don't know if it'll be enough, but from some, to stop giving the MVP award to the quarterback position. And I think that could be the boost that Saquon Barkley needs to take this away from Josh Allen this season.
I think that's true, but what is interesting now is the Bills are obviously undergoing some sort of addition by subtraction. No Diggs, no Gabe Davis, and then Josh Allen starts to become even more of a focal point of the offense, right? I think their ability to play above where people expected them to be, perhaps at this point of the season. You and I both know the defense being better than they were a year ago is a really significant factor. But Josh Allen is putting up enough numbers. Like you said, they've already salted away the division, and they may rip off a 13-win season here. I think it'll be tough for Saquon to pull it off. But given the string that they've been on, 150 yards and a rushing touchdown in 7 straight games, I believe, for the Eagles, they are competing with a 1940s era Eagles team for one of the most lethal rushing attacks in the history of the NFL. So I'm all for it having some competition here. I don't want it to be like the Heisman Trophy where the quarterback on the best team gets to win the award. But it's sort of a two-man race right now. People are still pulling for Lamar because he's having a great statistical season, but they're sitting at 8-5, and people are ignoring that their defense just is not championship level.
Well, so let me ask you then on that, Mike, when it comes to Lamar, but really the Baltimore Ravens, I think their pricing, specifically within the AFC race, is really indefensible. And that's coming from somebody who actually, and maybe I'm upset because I thought I might be able to catch a good number on that team. They have 5 losses. Their best football is never played in the playoffs. They are now not favored to win their division. And that team's sitting at plus 450, still knocking on the door of Chiefs-Bills pricing. I don't think is any type of fair number if people wanted to take a chance on Baltimore. I think you should be talking about, the Green Bay's at 7-1. I think that Baltimore number should be much closer to that.
I think that's fair, but I think the books don't want to expose themselves to a historic Lamar run at a good price for bettors. I think that's what's hedging it a little bit, to the same extent that the Niners were hedged for a really long time this season. It's now the horse is out of the barn on the Niners. Too many injuries. I think it's clear it's not their season. But I think there's a little bit of couching the Lamar impact and what could be. He's the type of player that could throw a team on its back. I just don't see it happening. I thought last year's team was much better than this year's team. And again, this defense is not good. They're not getting the pass rush that they're getting. The Eagles dominated them. I don't care what the score was. That was dominance with a lucky touchdown at the end of the game that meant nothing. So I'm with you. I think this is Bills with the Chiefs needing to show a little bit better. And the Steelers, I think the door is open for the Steelers that if they play offense like they did last week, then people will take them more seriously than they have to this point because the defense is where it needs to be.
Yeah, well, that loss on Thursday to the Browns a few weeks ago told me it's the same old Steelers, but time will tell, I think, on that Pittsburgh group. Mike, really appreciate you helping us out here on a Thursday. We've got Donnie Rightside checking in next as we continue to dive into a big one between the Packers and the Lions.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in. It's Game Time Decisions. We're live on SportsGrid here on this Thursday. Kevin Walsh joined by Donnie Rightside. Donnie, a big Thursday here, no doubt.
I mean, you want to talk about me maybe have to carry a show tonight? What I always actually carry the shows that I'm on. I'm willing to help, Kevin. I'm willing. I'm a teammate.
Well, you know what, then I got to go with the setup because there's an opportunity out there because I know the rules when it comes to Donnie Rightside in college basketball.
Yes.
But there's a conference game on tonight. I'm just curious for you.
Yeah.
The fact that the Big Ten is playing their conference action, much earlier, it seems like, than everybody else.
Appreciate it.
But for you, will that then say, okay, maybe I'll get in on Big Ten games a little bit earlier this year, or kind of still the same bar?
No, same thing. I mean, to be honest, I wish, let's just say each team played 30 games. They started right out in conference play, so I saw 10 straight conference games before the quote-unquote silly season. I'd be in so much quicker than I am now. But the fact of the matter is, Kevin, I don't have any numbers on those.
Yeah.
So until they get 6, 7, 8 times. What do you mean you don't bet college basketball have 10 conference games? Trust me. It's just the way I do things.
And I know that it ends up. I was wondering, though, did the Big Ten get left out of the – this was the Big East, Big 12.
Yeah.
And then it was the SEC, ACC. So the Big Ten was just kind of looking around.
The Big Ten's got so many teams now. They just said, look, we can't even play, Stetson anymore because they're too booked at this point.
It's just get it going now.
Exactly. Otherwise we lose it.
Finish. All right, there's DRS's college hoops breakdown.
Fantastic.
Talk to me then when we get to this Thursday nighter because it is such a big one.
Yes.
You and I were able to hit it a little bit this morning on radio. Have things started to materialize for you throughout the day?
Here's what I like, though. I expected fireworks tonight, 51.5 we were talking about. What do we see at least FanDuel right now? 52.5, which means a lot of people think fireworks are going to happen also. And why not? They're not two shut-down stellar defenses. Now, some of the metrics are very good on Detroit, but also, Kevin, it's a product of the matter of who you played at sometimes and also who you have left. You should be able to attack Detroit through the air tonight. You don't think Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur want to do that? You should be able to attack the Green Bay Packers through the air tonight. And let's also remind ourselves, you're not coming in with two football teams tonight that are one-dimensional. These are two of the best running football teams, which means if you are clipping off between 4 to 5 yards per carry, that play-action pass to get downfield is going to be sensational. And also keep in mind, but did you see the game they played early in the season? Yeah, we all saw it. Cold conditions, windy and rainy. A couple players were banged up in that game, including Jamison Williams, who will be back in this game tonight. I expect both of these quarterbacks to excel, and I expect these two teams to move it up and down the field. And one last thing. we've seen it before. Detroit moves it up and down the field, case in point against Tampa Bay, and just doesn't score. If this is a game where I can't win because I can't score in the red zone, I live with it. Trust me, I live with it.
Yeah, I'll tell people exactly what happened. I put the over in at 51.5, right? And I'll be honest with people. I played at 51.5 minus 110. And I was, you know what? I think this is going to be my only bet tonight. And I think there's a level of OCD I have with myself. So, Donnie, I went, all right, I'm going to cash out. I'm going to play it for double. But I just want it to be on one ticket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I cashed out. It went from 51.5 minus 110 to minus 118 to 52.5 in 2 seconds. I never got the bet in. I went, whoa. And I said, I'm not betting the over now. It ruined it for me.
Yep. 1 point.
And to some degree, I think that may be for the best. I think tonight the ball will be moved in this game, but 52.5 is a lot.
It's a lot.
And I would never bet under. I obviously prefer the over. And I know people will hear that. And I know, so 51.5, it's your best bet. 52.5, you're not touching it. It's just how the mind is sometimes. I want to get the best number. I want the best number. That's just how it is for me. And I now did not get the best number. But I felt there were things I felt about this game that I was able to attack. And, one of those is that Goff completions under. It's because I think it's a big running backs night. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, all of these guys, Donnie, booked with, big-time numbers, all expected to hit the end zone here. Do you love one of those three options tonight?
It's funny you bring that up because for me, trying to center it, I actually don't have any passing yards out of the quarterback tonight, even though I think there's going to be a pretty good game. I don't have any rushing yards out of the running backs tonight. So I'm focused on running backs scoring touchdowns. I'm focused on, obviously, each team passing for one and rushing for one, and also the wide receivers hitting some certain levels out here. If you said, Donnie, give me one player that you like tonight to score a touchdown, price perspective, David Montgomery is the guy I would take. But again, talking about prices, plus 105, plus 110, depending where you shop around, I'm on Ross St. Brown tonight. I honestly believe he gets in the end zone tonight. I love him. I bet him tonight.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Amon-Ra's not scored in 2 straight weeks. He's been a touchdown machine throughout the season. He's one of your top options there. He's the top option outside of that running back room. I expect Detroit, though, to get that ground game going. We've talked about the team total rushing touchdowns number.
Yeah.
I think that is certainly an intriguing one within this game. I don't know. I put Jacobs in some stuff. I think the one thing that I'm trying to figure out is this Detroit rush defense for real? Because, like I said, I still think there's vulnerability, and the injuries are now starting to mount. But the rush defense stuff has been very good for this team in recent games, certainly. Bottled up Mixon, bottled up Jonathan Taylor, kept DeAndre Swift at bay as well. I think this will be a very good test tonight, Donnie, to see just how good that run defense might be for Detroit.
And also, when you look at Detroit's run defense, yes, it's talented, and they're graded out very well to places like Pro Football Focus. But also, you have to remind ourselves, they don't give up a lot of rushing yards. This team is 11-1, which means they are winning primarily at the half and by big margins where other teams just don't have the opportunity to run the football. And again, I'm not saying that Detroit's not a great defense. They do measure up very well, but some of those can be, okay, if you tell me tonight the Green Bay Packers have the lead in the second half, I'm going to tell you they're over 100 yards rushing as a team already by the third quarter before it ends, right? So that's what we're trying to say, okay, Detroit can shut you down, but are they a product of their circumstances, which means you are going to throw the football in Detroit in the third and fourth quarter because you're down 2 touchdowns primarily, right? So that's what I want to see tonight. But also, if there's one team that should be able to run the football, it's Josh Jacobs. But if you are betting this game, too, and you're looking from a Green Bay side, wouldn't you just take an anytime touchdown for Jacobs or a passing yards to the over here for Jordan Love? Because tell me tonight how Green Bay wins this game without Jacobs scoring a touchdown. How's it happen?
Yeah, I think Josh Jacobs, Donnie, has become all of a sudden a bit of a touchdown machine. But the early beginning of this year, that wasn't the case at all. My hesitation on Jacobs is, it's not – I don't feel as confident with him as the price requires for me.
No, that's
on
Jacobs. David Montgomery for me tonight. I see. You know what? Who's going to score? Jacobs. Why don't you take him? Price is a little high.
I'd rather Jordan Love, Donnie. This has been the case now for about 2 seasons. Don't cap it. Just bet it over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's every game almost.
Yeah.
This has been going on for a long time with him, Donnie. And now look, who knows? Maybe Jacobs, Nick Chubb's the whole thing, and he somehow catches the touchdown, which we didn't necessarily see coming. The big thing for this game tonight, and you've set it up. I cannot stress just how wild it is that the Super Bowl favorite, if they drop this game tonight, Donnie, we could be talking about, are they going to end up the 6th seed?
Yes.
Like, the more I look at it now, it's not about how good Detroit is. It's not. Again, I still have no problem if people think they're the best team in football. And I'm going to remove the Eagles. There's no world you could tell me the Lions should have better Super Bowl odds than the Kansas City Chiefs or Buffalo Bills. There's no way that you could possibly believe that should be the case with the fact that Detroit could fall back like this.
Exactly. Not only fall back, you still be the number 1 overall seed and get 2 titanic battles you got to play in round number 1, or basically their round number 1, and also number 2, which will be the NFC Championship game. Because you're right about one thing. If they lose tonight, it opens Pandora's box in that division and also tightens everything up across the board. Now, we'd have a different outlook. We say, hey, Detroit plays in the NFC West or Detroit plays in the NFC South. Oh, they got room for error. They can rebound. There's no room for error. They lose tonight. It's crazy.
You just alluded to the other secret thing. We're going to get this. It's always dumb. I hate it. I hate it. Whoa. We got to start letting people pick their opponents. Stop. Stop. We'll never do that. But here's what's going to happen, Donnie. Philly knocks off the 7 seed, right?
Yep.
And what'll happen is, say Green Bay beats Seattle, and they're the 6th seed, and guess what that means? They're the highest remaining team, and that's who Detroit has to play.
Yep.
And then say the Eagles get to play, the lesser, again, people go, whoa. They're playing Sam Darnold, they're playing Kirk Cousins, and let the Lions pick their opponent. And you go, well, listen, you were the ones who wanted to book them at 2-1 to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's all the stuff that's on the line. Let's continue to zoom out here. We're live on a very busy Thursday night on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions, we're back with you right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh hanging out with Donnie Rightside. We're talking a little bit about Thursday Night Football and the way things could potentially be shifted if the Green Bay Packers pull off what is a very well within range upset. 3.5 in a divisional game. Now the only 3.5-point spread, Donnie, involving a divisional game. Sunday night, we get one of the rarer lines of the season. Because every single game Kansas City has played since their bye week, they've either been an underdog or laying over a touchdown. At home, they are laying 3.5. Have you started to look into that game at all? Because, man, it's just We have not seen many Chiefs lines look like that this season.
One game I want to take Kansas City, this Sunday Night Football. Here's why. I love the Chargers. I love the way they're coached. But also at the same time, you're starting to see the explosive players go down one by one, which is always an issue. Ladd McConkey was sensational last week in the first half. Knee props up. We don't think he's going to play this weekend. You have Quentin Johnston on the other side who can't catch an absolute cold over there. You have J.K. Dobbins, who was electric to start the season. My goodness, they stole him off the scrap heap. He's fully healthy now. He's down on IR. Gus Edwards, love him, not a great back. Vidal, love him, not a great back. Where do the points come from here is what I look at for the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I think they shut them down, and I think they win, and I think they cover. I haven't said that in a while. No. I think they cover.
Well, this is, to me, the very interesting thing about Kansas City is can they start to pick it up, right? Mm-hmm. I think that is the thing about this Chiefs team and is why they are given the benefit of the doubt, and it's understandable to a degree. My beef is people pretending that what's going on with them isn't concerning.
Yeah.
It's pretending that Mahomes deserved to be an MVP conversation, right?
Yeah.
That was my beef. But I even myself, if you told me to tier the NFL, tier 0, Kansas City, the boogeyman. Mm-hmm. They are their own thing. They are horrifying, and you know it. But they're also so far showing us they aren't that good.
Yeah.
And I feel as if this game against the Chargers, Donnie, where if I'm wrong in saying they're not that good, you're right. They win, they cover, they handle business. That's what they need to be able to do here, because it's not an easy run out for this team to close the door.
Yeah.
We know the Chargers are good. The Browns have proven to be a tough out. The Texans are not going to be someone you can just walk over. The Pittsburgh Christmas game at Denver to close it out as well. Look, the Chiefs will be favored in all 5 of those football games. Yeah. Don't make any mistake about it. They'll probably lay over a field goal, actually, in every single one of those games. But it only takes one slip-up to put Buffalo into that top slot, assuming the Bills are able to run that table. But the problem with that, Donnie, is that's a lot easier said than done.
It is.
If the Bills lose one game, they need the Chiefs to drop 2.
No, you're absolutely right. And the Chiefs understand how to win. Back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Now you're going to see them head into the playoffs. And if they are the 1 seed, it's still going to be really hard to beat them. And sometimes you do need breaks as well. If you were to give me 100% healthy Chargers team, Kevin, and still 4 points, I'm in it. J.K. Dobbins is there. You got a wide receiver that can sort of break man-to-man coverage. But now you don't have that. We've seen time and time again this come down. And, yes, you take a look at some of the ticket splits. 70% of the tickets here are still coming in on the Chargers because of that thought process we can't really argue with. Are they laying over a field goal? Yep, you got to take the other side because you know that game is going to be close. And I do think it's going to be close. Also looking at the team total for the Chargers early in the week was 19.5. I don't think they get the 3 touchdowns. I really don't. This game sits at what? Opened at 45.5, plummeted to 42.5. I agree with that as well. This is a low-scoring game. That's the MO of the Chiefs. And also, if you say to yourselves, how are the Chargers going to win? Up-tempo, get after versus Kansas City? Maybe in the past, that's how you beat them. That's not how you beat them anymore. Hang around, see if you can catch them in the fourth quarter, and maybe not drop a snap and fumble it, and maybe make a field goal, and you could beat the Chiefs.
And I think that the other tough thing, though, with the Chiefs is it's not like, oh, man, it's all these big numbers. They can't cut. They have 2 wins this year by double digits.
Yeah.
2. It's not that they lay 14.5 and win by 14 or win by 10.
Yeah.
They don't win big whatsoever, and that is what creates this type of situation. I mentioned the Buffalo game. I don't think they have an easy one. But here's the thing, Donnie. It's very funny when stuff like this plays out. I don't think the game's easy. I wouldn't be stunned if they lose. But I can't bet the Rams at the number because clearly everybody agrees. I thought the 4.5 was maybe a tick light, and now it's down to 3.5.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly people are out there betting the Rams, which on non-numbers in terms of spot, I agree with. But in price, I don't know if I could take the Rams at that price.
Yeah, because you're when the 3.5s come in, and this sometimes the public perception is they can hang around in that game. You can't look at 3.5 and say, I think the team's going to hang around.
Yeah.
No, you have to absolutely think that the Buffalo Bills are in a bad spot because how emotional somehow that 49ers game was and took a lot out of them in the snow. It really didn't. You can look at that game as an energy boost here now going out to the West Coast. But still, when you're playing football, West Coast, East Coast, it is a tough travel spot. We understand that. But also, 425 game, 49.5, you're expecting points in that. You'll probably get it here. But you're right. I look at the Rams. If you say, Donnie, what line, if you're just reading the line, would you want to take? You actually would want to take the Rams here. I think I like the 3.5 just looking at the line, but it's hard to quantify it there by saying, all right, well, what do they have to do? Beat the Buffalo Bills now, who have their eye on the prize. Division, they're going to wrap that up and win that here. Now they want to get that number 1 seed. You can't have a letdown week, Kevin, this late in the season. I know Sean McDermott is not going to allow that to happen. I do think the Buffalo Bills score. I'm just interested in what I'm getting out of the Rams in this game. Puka Nacua, we know he's probably, 60, 70, 80 yards. Cooper Kupp sometimes plays that Batman, that Robin role, the Batman, which is kind of crazy. But that's the way I look at it there. It's a tough game to bet, but if I'm just looking at the line, it actually tells me to bet the Rams.
I'm interested, for Buffalo, if they drop the game.
Mm-hmm.
This one specifically, that might be enough to dash the 1 seed hopes, because the follow-up, and I'm not saying it's easy to beat Buffalo 2 times in a row, but the follow-up is going to Detroit, who will be in a good schedule spot, Donnie, being able to come off of the mini-bye.
Yeah.
Tonight they're on normal rest, and so are the Green Bay Packers, having both played on Thanksgiving. But that advantage then really kicks in. But if Buffalo can – here's the thing. Sometimes it's really hard to ask a team to win 13 in a row. They just need to win 2 more. Because then it's New England, New York, New England. And if they lose any of those games, that's going to feel indefensible. That's the way this stuff starts to play out. And then Allen will be minus 1,000 to win the league's MVP. And you start to see those conversations shift, and they already have throughout this season. Let's sneak in a tick of college football while we've got Donnie on the desk before your pregame show tonight.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back to right here. It's Game Time Decisions. I just came across some interesting college football numbers that I need to look into a little bit more.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen this, Donnie? The overall seed pricing, but now they've expanded it to 5, 6, 7, 8.
No. Explain it to me. Explain yourself.
So, now obviously with the new format that you can bet your top 4 exactas. They also have odds to be the 1 seed.
Uh-huh.
And then they have odds to be
see.
the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. But there's a really odd number out there.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State to be the 8th seed is minus 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
I have to double check. I think I did a soft projection, though.
Yeah.
Where I thought they'd be the 7 seed.
Uh-huh.
See, there's a real flaw in I may just click Georgia, Penn State, and see if. Just hear me out, though, Donnie, right? Just from the committee's perspective. And we're doing this a little bit on the fly, admittedly, but sometimes you see stuff and it's worth it. If Penn State, Donnie, loses to Oregon, why wouldn't they fall behind Ohio State, who beat them head-to-head? Don't you think they would?
Or is there no penalty at all for being in the Big Ten championship game? Is that what they're telling you? There's only bonuses. There's no negatives.
But that then says SMU's into the playoff, right? I understand that SMU's playing a Clemson team ranked 17 and they're playing Oregon ranked 1. But if all of a sudden Penn State and Ohio State are both sitting there with multiple losses, and Ohio State's like, we beat them, so I don't know if they're not going to. But here's the other side, like Georgia, Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
If Georgia loses their 3rd game, have we seen the committee say no, it's fine?
Yes.
They're not going to fall behind Ohio State.
The committee tells you losses matter, and then tells you at the same time they don't matter.
Right.
It's like the championship games for college football used to be the conference would be like, oh no. We have 2 teams that might get in it, but now they have to play each other, and one is going to be out. Yeah. Now they're telling you, don't worry about the championship game. If you lose, it's like the game never happened.
Right.
Like you make it, you should be able to prove your seed. But if you lose, how do you say Miami's got 2 losses, you got 3, but you because in the back of the day in college football, the later you lost, the worse it was.
Yeah.
Now they're going don't worry about it. Don't worry. You lost the last game of the year, you're not even going to drop.
Truly, that is one of the more stunning things. And I'll tell you this: the college football pricing playoff stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, usually it's day of.
Yeah.
But the Alabama stuff was correct on Tuesday, and it was correct last year. You and Lisi were sitting live out in AC.
Yeah.
And the number kept coming in like, hey, Bama's in a playoff, by the way.
Yes.
And they were. But I've been under the assumption, and I guess incorrectly, that Georgia and Penn State, who are both right now in front of Ohio State, would fall behind them, Ohio State, with a loss. The book doesn't think that's the case.
No, which is crazy. They're basically telling you, the college football playoff show, here's what we think it's going to be. And the betting public going we've been down this block before. We don't trust you at all. Oh, Alabama probably can't get in. Heavy minus number to get in.
Right.
They're basically saying, we don't believe anything you say because we understand once Saturday plays, you're going to come to an agreement that here's what's going to take place. They're telling us Miami is out, Kevin. I'm trying to make a case today. Watch them turn around SMU got killed. They got 2 losses now. Miami's got 2. We dropped them down.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit surprising, and that's something I want to work with. I want to throw this to you because I think you'll appreciate it, but it's a very Donnie take.
Oh.
Hey, which conference championship game, if you could only watch one, would you watch?
Yeah.
And you've got Boise UNLV Friday tomorrow, stakes, right? ACC title game, stakes. To me, it's either Texas, Georgia, or Oregon, Penn State because that's where the big boys are.
Yeah.
But what's really surprising, and this isn't the Donnie take, it's one of those things I might end up regretting, right? Depending on how the game plays out. I think Oregon, Penn State's the most interesting game out of all of them. It's not. We haven't seen it yet. I've seen Texas.
Yeah.
Even if Texas wins, I know Georgia's better than them. I don't care.
Yeah.
I need to see if Penn State can actually go out there and win one of these games.
You're right about that because usually, Kevin, and usually means last year, Georgia, Texas, Penn State, Oregon, you are telling your wife, girlfriend, best friend, whoever, leave me alone.
Yep.
We have to watch these games. Now it's we can go out and check the score because it doesn't really matter. But there's that deep down deviance for me that goes, Oregon, hanging on them, man. Give me a 31-3 and Franklin go, job was done already before the game. It doesn't matter that we lost. We're in the tournament, and I will love every minute of it.
I cannot wait to watch that play out because I know that all the money is on or like if you believe in betting what the books need, you have that Nittany Lions money line ticket, the 3.5 ticket, and then you pick your head up. You go, shout out James Franklin. All right,
14-3 third quarter. Like, why did I do this to myself? Why did I do it?
All right, the pregame show for a great Thursday night game, the Lions and Packers, is next here on SportsGrid.
The Seahawks, I expected a bounce back after that poor performance against Buffalo the week before. They took the Rams down to the wire.
The Cardinals are the top spot at the moment. That's not going to hold. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are not going to win this division, but they are 5-4. After that, you've got the Rams, the Niners, each 4-4.